Hello, everyone. I believe we're still waiting for people to join. So I would imagine we should wait perhaps 2-3 minutes just to make sure that everyone is on board. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for joining in and allocating your time, especially these days around your busy schedules. So we really, really appreciate this. During the webinar, you'll be able to ask questions. There's a Q&A messenger on the bottom of your screen, somewhere in the middle. So by all means, feel free to pop any questions. That would be great if you could participate as much as possible. Just only wondering where you guys all joining us from today, and also what channels you're already selling. So perhaps you can just drop us a line on the chat. And let's wait 2-3 more minutes until everyone is here. I can see there is quite a few members joining in already, so thanks for doing that. I hope also that you can all hear me well. So if there is any interruptions, please drop us a message again on the internal chat, so we can pick it up and improve it if there's a need for that. I believe if we could do another minute. Again, thank you all for your patience. We're not going to be delaying it much more.
Probably, Przemek, we can get started.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So again, welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in to this special presentation we have planned for you today. My name is Przemek. I'm the Enterprise Sales Executive here at Webinterpret, but also your host for today's presentation, which is all about unlocking the tremendous potential of selling globally on marketplaces. Joining me today as a main speaker, Adrien Salvat, who's our main CEO of the Webinterpret, as well as James Havis from Transit Parts UK, essentially one of our long-time customers and by all means very successful business on international marketplaces. So I wanted to start off with sharing the agenda for today. Today we're going to start the discussion about importance of selling globally on marketplaces and how much of a potential it's in there, but also why this should be a key part of your business strategy. We'll also talk about some operational challenges and also what strategy to implement. And last but not least, we're going to have a talk with James about his international business growth and how they grew their sales over 12% over the course of years with the partnership of Webinterpret. And at the very end of the session, we'll have some time to hopefully answer some of your questions. So again, feel free to drop us, questions through the messenger, which you will have on the top of your on the screen. Without any further delays, I'd like to pass over to Adrien. Adrien, the floor is yours. Let's get it started.
Thank you very much, Przemek, and thanks everybody for joining today. We appreciate that. So starting with a few words about Webinterpret. Some of you know us already, but so far at Webinterpret, we are helping brands and retailers to be successful globally on marketplaces. We have developed a set of tools such as localization, such as marketing services, such as logistic services in order to help our retailers be successful globally. We can help you open new markets, test new markets, open marketplaces, essentially in line to help you become successful globally. We have been doing that for about 15 years. In the early days of the company, we spent the first few years by building and investing quite a lot in technologies. After for 5 years, our technology was well-rounded, and we managed to get a strategic partnership with marketplaces such as eBay and Amazon that helped us back in the days grow very, very significantly. And thanks to this very strategic partnership, we have been able then to reinvest in our product and again build a very advanced tech stack around localization, translation of inventory on marketplaces, around optimizing marketing campaigns on marketplaces, as well as helping businesses with international shipping as well as international returns. Webinterpret in numbers today, we have about 170 people within the organization, pretty much spread across all around the world. We have offices in Shenzhen, in Canada, in Poland, in the UK, in France, in Barcelona. And we help our retailers with growing their international sales. Last year, we have had and seen an increment of about 300 million euro over the course of 2022. That's just a reminder about Webinterpret. All right, so getting started with the webinar today. The first topic will be around why should you, as a brand or as a retailer, look at the international opportunity. So the first number is really around the size of selling globally. If you look at the UK market is about 118 billion yearly worth of sales. So by sales, I mean e-commerce goods, physical goods sales. So we are talking about 118 billion, while the worldwide commerce is about 3.6 trillion. So if you look at the ratio, the world opens up an opportunity which is 31 times bigger than your domestic market. And then if we look at, let's say, the Western world, if you can call it like that, so European Union, UK, US, we are talking about 1.7 trillion, which is still substantially wider than and bigger than the domestic UK e-commerce. And even though you look at countries close to the UK, Germany, we are talking about 100 billion euro a year worth of sales, while in France, it's about 70 billion. So just the countries that are very close to the UK, you can do quite significant trade with countries close to the UK, which are generally easier to do trade with. The second interesting data around global selling, beyond the fact that the opportunity is quite big, the second interesting data is really about the dynamic of it, because when we look at the yearly growth of international trade, we see that it grows twice as fast as the domestic commerce. So international trade grows about 26% per year over a course of 2021 to forecasted 2026. While domestic commerce is more around 11 to 12%. So being part of trading internationally should really be a catalyst for your business to grow further. And a second interesting data is that very often businesses are afraid to sell internationally, thinking it's very hard. But when we look at the number of buyers that bought from an international seller, it's about 71%. So nowadays, there are tools on the market, such as Webinterpret, that can help you really grow your business globally, effortlessly, and buyers will receive well your offer because they are already used to buy from international seller. So it is really important for you to be aware that selling globally isn't necessarily too complex. Another interesting data around selling globally. So when you are selling globally, you could do it through your own store, through your .com or .co.uk, or you can do it through marketplaces. Webinterpret solely focus on marketplaces because we see that the share of marketplace transaction is growing year after year. And by 2025, within Europe, about 60% of e-commerce transaction will be done through marketplaces. This is why we believe it's a great angle to test international markets. And beyond that, marketplaces allow you to have an existing and to tap into an existing pool of buyers, which allows you to decrease your cost of acquisition and to increase your time to market, as opposed to launching your own store on foreign markets, investing a lot in acquiring new customers on Google Shopping, which is a bit more costly and a bit more complex. And the last data and fact around international selling, if we zoom in into Europe, what we see is that the Western Europe is fairly big, of course, but fairly stable these days in terms of e-commerce. And if we look at Central Europe and Eastern Europe, there are a lot of markets that are very dynamic. We could think about Poland, for instance, Romania, Hungary. These markets are growing on average about 30%, 30 to 35%, which is good because it can provide you quite some good dynamic today. And on the midterm, as these markets are growing quite steadily, you can become quite a predominant actor and business in this region if you start investing from today. So we really invite our customers from the UK as well to look very closely at this region because there are some business opportunities there. Przemek, you are trying to say something.
Apologies. This is really interesting, Adrien. I really feel like when speaking to our clients on a daily basis, it seems like a majority of UK and perhaps even US businesses would be covering predominantly the western side of the Europe. So the main key countries such as Germany, France, Spain, and Italy, perhaps. But when I do have those conversations on a daily basis, it seems like the Central and Eastern Europe, it seems still today as a missed opportunity, given the fact that the Central and Eastern Europe is booming at the moment. However, the slightly more specific, like a local buyer. So for example, myself, if I'm looking to buy anything, obviously I'm based locally in Warsaw in Poland. Whenever I'm looking to purchase anything online, as well as my family and friends, predominantly will be looking to purchase it from Allegro, which I think is really, really good direction. If you're already shipping to, Western European countries, by all means, Poland is just next to the Germany on the map, as you all know. But essentially speaking, Allegro, it's a key marketplace, it's a main player. For some reason, local and Polish people are very much supporting whatever's local. They prefer and like to buy from that local marketplace. And last time I've checked, I believe there was 85 or 6% of online shoppers stating that Allegro is their favorite place to purchase from. So I believe that's still a hidden opportunity for our clients. And of course, we would like to take you on that journey together with us, and then furthermore expand to other countries, as Adrien mentioned through other marketplaces such as eMAG, for example.
And additionally to that, actually, you make me think, Przemek, that Amazon opened up in Poland. I think it was a year and a half ago. And when Amazon opened up in Poland, the stock of Allegro went down quite significantly. But then the market didn't change much. People kept buying on Allegro. And then it made local players such as Allegro even stronger because they haven't been that much impacted by the arrival of Amazon. So that's quite interesting to see that there are some very solid local players, bol.com in Netherlands, eMAG in Romania, Allegro in Poland, that are here to stay for long.
That's so true. Thank you, Adrien.
All right, so moving on to the challenges. We were thinking that it could be interesting to be sharing a few challenges of selling globally that, of course, Webinterpret are helping with. So the first thing at Webinterpret, we like to look at the complexity of global selling, we like to symbolize it with a sales funnel, because selling internationally, in the end of the day, is A, generating traffic. So the first question is, how can I generate traffic on my international listing? B, how can I convert that traffic into a sale, into an order? And C, once I've got some orders and some customers, how can I ensure repeat purchase to make sure that I sustain my customer base? So these are really the three key elements you should look at when selling globally. So about generating traffic internationally, it is essential that you are localizing your inventory. Localizing your inventory doesn't only mean translating your inventory. So translation, of course, is one part of offering local experience to your international buyers. But on top of translation, you need to look at the category you are listing your item to. Recently, we had, I think it was a German seller that sold pre-loved watches, and we helped him to open Ireland as a market. And the marketplace in Ireland didn't have pre-loved watches. So there was a second-hand bracelet and a type of watches. I can't remember exactly the name. And so then we had to arbitrate between these two categories, which one sell more, which one is more appropriate. And then we decided to list that pre-loved item into one of these categories. So the choice of the category is very essential for your items. Then there is a title. Your titles must be structured in a SEO-friendly form. So you need to have a certain number of keywords and a certain structure in order to make sure that your item will surface in the search of the marketplace. Then you should, of course, localize and convert the currencies. In Europe, we buy euro. In the UK, we buy in GBP, in the US, in US dollar, so on and so forth. So there must be this dynamic conversion of your prices. And then you need as well to map the metric system from, let's say, pound, kilogram, inches, meter, Italian sizes, American sizes. All that needs to be localized so your international buyer exactly know what they are buying, and to make sure you decrease the unsatisfaction, because if the information on the product listing isn't right, it is more likely that your international buyer will be unsatisfied. So all these elements are quite key to offer your international buyer a local shopping experience. The second key element that you should look at is around enriching your product attributes. So very often, marketplaces have their own taxonomy and their own requirements. And even within Amazon, the requirements of attributes in the UK might be different than the one on Amazon France. So you need to make sure that your set of attributes on your domestic site is large enough to make sure that you can list internationally and revise your content. So it is really key to enrich it as much as possible. The second key benefit of enriching your attribute is to be more visible into the search of the marketplace. Once again, recently we had a customer selling CDs, vinyl, right? Like the old CDs, right? And in France, for example, we measure them in centimeters, while in Germany, Germans measure it in a different metric system. So if you don't convert the centimeter into the measurement of Germany, your item is never going to be findable on the search of, let's say, Amazon Germany. So it's really important to localize as well your attributes to make sure that your item is visible locally. And of course, not to say that each marketplace have their own requirements, so you need to adapt the attribute set to the local marketplaces. We are doing that for our clients on eBay for a very long time, on Amazon as well. And we see on our data that enriching your attributes can help you to grow your traffic from 5 to 8%. So it is quite essential. Then you've got the paid marketing lever that we highly recommend to leverage, especially these days on marketplaces. The main marketplaces like Amazon and eBay are forcing more and more their customers to leverage the paid marketing. If you want to sell today, you really have to leverage that to a degree. About 30% of the search of marketplaces are today sponsored. So if you are not sponsoring your item, you are missing about 1/3 of the search. However, managing your campaign internationally isn't just about translating few keywords. It's about generating keywords locally, because each language have their own specificities. And then it's about maintaining these keywords, removing the keywords that do not work, keeping and investing more into the keywords that work, and all that needs to be done locally. If now you multiply the number of campaigns that needs to be managed, let's say 10 to 20 per market, multiply by the number of international countries, let's say if you sell on 10 markets, we are talking about maintaining 100 to 200 marketing campaign, which is significant in multiple languages. That's why it's quite important to help yourself with some tools to manage this campaign programmatically, to make sure you can have exposure on international markets as well. Another key factor to look at is your brand image. And we've worked quite a lot on that with James from TPUK today. So businesses, especially brands, are quite cautious about their brand, and international buyers are more likely to buy from a brand that has some creative and visuals on the marketplaces, because that way they will gain trust in your brand when they don't know it. So once we are internationalizing a brand, we are really making sure that all the visuals, the brand stores, the brand story are being localized to, again, increase the likelihood and the buyability of your items. And marketplaces such as Amazon have developed a fantastic set of tools that allows brands to really accomplish their creatives within the marketplaces.
Is that a little bit like, Adrien, sorry for jumping in, having a so-called brand store? It feels a bit like having our own website within the Amazon world, I would say.
Completely. It is exactly that, right? So it's about having your website within the ecosystem of Amazon. What is important for all our listeners today is that Amazon is trying to shift from being a marketplace to become the main web search for products. Their vision is to make sure that when someone wants to buy a product, they are no longer going to Google, they are going to Amazon, and Amazon refers the right product. And in line with that vision, they are really trying to surface the brands and provide tools to the brands to make sure that when a buyer searches for something, all the stores and everything surfaces properly.
So it feels like it's a bit like having this brand store, and let's just say it's been created. So let's hope we can assist our clients with that, as we did for James. And then as a step 2, we could potentially localize those brand stores into international Amazon marketplaces, which means really for someone having this online store and like multiplied by 5, let's just say, in all those international countries, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All right, moving on to the shipping. Nothing new for you, I guess. International shipping is difficult to a degree, especially from the UK to Europe post-Brexit. So there are a few tricks that can be done around shipping, of course. What we generally recommend our customers is to focus first on items that are below 150 euro, of course, because the marketplace is collecting the VAT and the experience of the buyer will be, as a result, much smoother because there won't be any custom declaration to be done. When the good exceeds 150 euro, that's where it becomes a bit more complex. And then you have a few possibilities. Either you can offer shipments DDU, duty delivery unpaid. The good side of it, your prices will be more competitive. The downside is that the buyer will receive a call at delivery saying, hey, you need to pay the VAT and the customs. Second option is to ship DDP, delivery duty paid. The good side is that the experience of the buyer is great, but of course, watch out with the cost because DDP sometimes could be a pricey type of delivery, or else you could always leverage domestic fulfillment, let's say through FBA or through some multiple warehouse management. So let's say if you're a UK seller, you could store some goods in France or in Germany to dispatch your European goods from there. And that is generally the most powerful shipping method. However, it could be a bit complex to manage. So it's really important, depending on your category, product type, and size of goods, that you are deciding and choosing the right strategy for your international shipping. That being said, it is as well quite important to try to offer as much as possible delivery methods that international buyers are used to. You can see on the slide a survey that was done and conducted by DPD in 2018. So it's quite old, but it still shows that depending on the country, the behaviors could be different. And for example, in Central Europe, mainly Poland and Romania, parcel lockers, so delivery to lockers, are very important. So in-post type of delivery. Here, it's very key. It's about 50% of deliveries today. So if you don't offer locker delivery, you might miss 50% of the potential. So once again, it's quite important that you try to adapt and localize your shipping experience as well. And one last word around returns. For our customers, you probably know that we have released the new return product about 6 months ago for you, where we take care of your international returns for you. The reason why we've done that is because we found out that by offering international free returns, you are growing your sales quite a lot. 6% for the most conservative data. Sometimes it can go way up to 50%. Why? Because imagine yourself as an Italian buyer buying from a UK retailer. If the retailer or the seller do not offer free return, the buyer might think, oh gosh, if I buy that item and if it doesn't fit, then I will have to return it at my cost. But paying for a return Italy to the UK is quite pricey. So very often they are dropping the cart.
So who covers the costs of the returns? Because you did mention we would take care of the returns of for our clients.
Yeah, so Webinterpret covers the return for our customers, of course. But my point was really to say that by offering international free return, your international buyers are much more likely to buy. And it doesn't mean that your return rate is going to drastically increase, because generally they are receiving the goods, they are generally happy with that, and they are not returning the item. So we really encourage you to accept buyer free return. And if you work with Webinterpret, we are covering all that for you and paying that for you.
I believe it gives more confidence, especially again for myself when I'm purchasing online. If I can return stuff, I'll buy it. Obviously, the product is as described and I'm happy with the condition of it. It's pretty much unlikely I'm going to be returning it. But knowing that prior to the purchase, yes, it does really help. So,
yeah. All right. I'll now go quickly around the strategies. So then, Przemek, you can have your part with James. So quickly around the strategies. When we look back at the past 2 to 3 years, we see that cross-border selling has been quite a lot challenged. In 2020, there was a Brexit happen, which impacted international trade between the UK and Europe and between Europe to the UK, because the borders that is now between the two countries create friction in the shopping experience. In 2021, there was a new VAT regulation. So now every item costing less than 150 euro are subject to the VAT collected by the marketplace. So before, for all foreign sellers, let's say Asian sellers or North American sellers selling into Europe, they weren't paying VAT, but now they have to pay the VAT with that new regulation, which automatically increase prices. Last year, of course, worldwide conflict with the conflict between Ukraine and Russia, which changes a bit how countries are working together. It will have an impact on e-commerce at some point because custom rules and borders are going to evolve depending on the relationship between a different region of the world. And more recently, eco-taxes, EPR, you know that today, if you want to sell in Germany or in France, you need to be registered to EPR so that you can still trade in those countries, which is an extra regulation to add on top of everything you need to do. So all that makes international trade a bit more difficult. Some customers dropped because they don't want to manage that complexity, which leaves some space for the sellers that want and that are ready to bypass all these issues. Then we generally have two types of strategies to tap into the cross-border opportunity. So we have two strategies that we recommend to our clients in general. The bottom-up strategy, which is really around, it's more experimental. It's around listing your item on multiple marketplaces. Let's say you launch and you list as many listings as possible within Amazon Europe. You let this item go, you collect data, and then you refine your strategy as you go. So it's a bit more experimental. And then you've got the top-down strategy where you are trying to get a bit more insights on your competition, on the local market, on the likelihood of this particular market to buy your product. And from there, you are defining your international strategy. Generally, we recommend our customers to go for the bottom-up strategy, which is the one that I'm going to go through here. So the bottom-up strategy is fairly simple and quite effective. It's a 3-steps strategy. Step 1 is really about testing and learning. We take your listing, we list them in as many places as possible, generally within Amazon and within eBay, because with one integration, you benefit from many countries. And then you let your items sell organically. Once these items are selling, once you start to collect some data from a given market, you can start to refine your strategy. And then comes the step 2. Once you understand the market that works well for you, we optimize the top selling item in local languages to maximize your potential and your conversion in a given market. Once this is done, we start as well to manage some campaigns for our retailers to grow the GMV locally. And we tend as well to recommend opening multiple marketplaces within a given country to maximize your exposure. A good example for Poland, you could launch your item on Amazon Poland within the Amazon European ecosystem. And if Poland reacts well to your product, you can add Allegro as a complement to be really well present into Allegro. And the step 3 is about really becoming profitable as a business. And this step is very often left alone by our customers. So once you have all your items listed and optimized and maintained on a given market, we generally tend to try to decrease the cost of marketing and try to rework the pricing with our customer in order to increase the margin on a given market. So I hope all that gave you a flavor about the challenges and the opportunity of selling globally. If you have any question, of course, we'll be happy to take them a bit later.
Of course, and just as thank you, Adrien. As a gentle reminder, please drop any questions through the messenger on the Zoom channel. So we'll be more than happy to answer as many as we can. James, welcome. It's so great to be talking to you today about your global selling success on marketplaces during this webinar. So again, thank you very much that you allocated time and your presence is really important for us. Given the circumstances that, it's even more privileged for us that TPUK and Webinterpret has been working for nearly 10 years together in order to grow your presence globally and to increase your sales internationally on marketplaces. So James, I'd like to start off by asking if you can give us a general overview of Transit Parts UK for those who aren't familiar with your business.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys. Well, we first started e-commerce probably back in 2006. Well, going a bit back further than that, it's my dad's business. My dad's a really big auto car fanatic and decided to get involved with selling car parts. So he had a wholesale business, and so in 2006, I gently nudged him and said, "Oh, look, Dad, this is going to be." The internet is going to be a massive thing, especially selling on there. So we got involved with eBay, and when we started putting our parts on eBay, and we really wanted to get into kind of a niche market. So we decided to start selling parts for transit vans. It's very glamorous, I know. But we do, yeah. So we started making that our business. We got rid of most of our wholesale parts and started really focusing on kind of what everyone needs, what kind of will work for us on the marketplaces, and then just started from there. Essentially, we started with one warehouse. We now have 4. We employ 20 people, and yeah, I'm overworked and underpaid.
And that's really impressive that you managed to grow your business to that level. Thanks for that feedback, James, and obviously for the introduction. Can we just go back in the time a bit? As I mentioned, we've been working together since 2013. I know it's been 10 years ago. I actually did my homework, and it seems that our 10th anniversary comes in June. Well, it happens in June this year. So I hope our CEO will have create and prepare a special gift for you. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But James, can you tell us a bit? Really, I wanted to ask about your first experience and impression, how it all started. I know it's been 10 years ago, but could you perhaps tell us how it got to that that you started using us?
Yeah, sure. I remember it very well. It was one of my first eBay open things. So what they do is they invite a lot of sellers through, and they have all their selling partners, and then everyone has a drink, and then everyone talks to everyone, and then it's kind of a networking thing where if it benefits your business and if it benefits eBay's partners, then we get involved. And we spoke to Webinterpret for a lot longer than we did with any of the other people, because we were shocked at kind of the ease of your service, really. And we were like, really, do we just need to just sign up and click go? I know the experience was, I mean, it was 10 years ago, but essentially it was, we sign up, we check our top 40 sellers, and then kind of you guys translate them, we review them, and then it gets put onto the international marketplaces, and essentially we just sit back and watch the sales. And really back then, CBT was its infancy. So no one was talking about it. And at that time, we kind of got involved at the right time. And I was really impressed with Webinterpret. Very professional, very polite, and very informative. And they kept us kind of involved kind of every step of the way.
Cool, great, thank you for that, James. But now it's obviously we're in 2023, and TPUK has seen an overall sales increase of 12% based on the combination of different services that we've been providing or recommending for your business. I know there is a bit of an exciting project that is sort of predominantly tailor-made towards your business needs. And I just wanted to maybe elaborate that as we all evolving from 2013, and Webinterpret is created an environment to provide like an end-to-end solution for our clients. So obviously have been using our eBay solution, which is around internalization, so listing items around the globe for eBay markets, also promoting your items within eBay. But can you tell us a bit more about the projects that we've been running for you, I believe since December last year, so it's still early days, but there's the huge aspect of really making sure that we will take the Amazon journey and the right way. There is a lot of work in terms of the creative agency, optimizing your listings, making sure that your shop is up to the highest standard, which I believe from the conversation we initially had, it was well important for you to really accelerate your sales on Amazon domestically, but then again as a step to focus on your international growth as well for that marketplace.
Sure, it was quite strange really, because we have kind of quarterly reviews at TPUK, and for the last kind of 3 or 4 quarters we've been wanting to focus on Amazon, and we feel our market share of the Amazon market isn't as much as we are. I mean, eBay we predominantly cover all of our kind of market, but Amazon we've got kind of a lot of growth opportunity there, which we haven't tapped into. With Amazon, it's a totally different marketplace than eBay. With eBay, you can have your own specifications. You can have whatever you like on there, really, as long as it's can be the pictures are good and your listings are fine. That's fine. But on Amazon, you have to jump through so many kind of hoops to get there. So I think it was you guys, Przemek, that you called me and we went through it and it was like, okay, well this is good. So I'm going to hold my horses because we've been dealing with eBay and it's been fine. But you guys really tailored this whole experience around to our business, not just throwing kind of general terms of we can do this for you, we can do that for you. You actually showed me kind of how we can do it together as a team, rather than us just employing you to do data work or to do translations that we were in the eBay project. This was kind of us kind of growing together, and I really appreciated that, and it really made kind of this whole, even though it's been since December, I think we've made a lot of progress.
Indeed.
We've changed kind of the way we list products, the way that I mean the
way they look.
Your designers are great. We provided you, for example, lots of pictures, and your designers came back and said, right, we think these would be good on Amazon, and we're like, yeah, we'll probably use those on eBay as well, but don't tell them. But it's all about working together, and kind of, no, I'm really impressed, and that's why I agreed to come on here today to explain. So
that means a lot. That means a lot to us. Thank you for that, James. Just to finish it off, James, would you be happy or able to give any advice for clients, for sellers that want to grow their business globally? Like, I mean, because obviously you've been really successful up to this point. There's still so much to do, but what would be your sort of, any sort of advice, if you had anything to say, perhaps?
Well, I'd first say, I mean, yeah, you think the shipping internationally can be expensive. I mean, there is so much competition in the marketplace for prices. Like, I mean, for example, for me to send a 30-kilo parcel to Germany is about £11. So courier-wise, I would say just negotiable couriers. With regards to obviously selling international, I would first of all give Webinterpret a call and see if they kind of what advice they can give you, and if they can kind of run you through it, because for what they do, I'm not saying they don't charge as much, but I'm just saying for what we pay them, their expertise is paid back tenfold. So I would say don't be scared to do it. Just try it, because as I say, I mean, I didn't even realize the figures that Adrien put earlier. Like, they were just astounded. I mean, even when I spoke to you last week about Allegro, Przemek,
That's right.
like 35% growth value in those marketplaces in Eastern European and Central Europe. I didn't know that, and I didn't know that Allegro was predominantly Polish. I just knew it was a marketplace, but I didn't really understand it until we had that conversation. And now I'm registered and I'm ready to sell on there as soon as possible. So it's all about having a chat with people that know what they're talking about, and if you want a transit part, I know what I'm talking about. And if you want to sell internationally, and if you want to know how to do it and what the best way to do it is, speak to Webinterpret.
Nice one. Really appreciate your comments, James, and again, of course, your time and that you are with us today. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll catch up with the next few coming days on your next business review to agree what are the next steps of our expansion. And obviously, we'll it's great.
And my free
Indeed. It's great to work on that project together with you. I'm not going to lie, I always enjoyed our meetings. But yeah, I just wanted to add that, with this sort of tailor-made project that we are running for James, it's really predominantly focusing today around his Amazon domestic, but essentially the key is to do it properly and set it all up for Amazon UK, and then take those listings and all that work and localize that internationally to grow his presence on Amazon International, but also tapping into the CEE region, which is Allegro, Poland, EMAC, some further Eastern European countries. The opportunities are there. There's so much to, and of course, I think the timing is great because we nailed it down. We believe we know how to do it, and we would love to take you on that journey with us. But now, just to finalize it and sum it all up for you guys, I wanted to maybe go through Q&A session, and we would love to. Let's see how many questions we've got. We would like to answer those for you. So let me start off by reading them to you. Do we give assistance in opening accounts with marketplaces like Allegro? Yes, we do. We did that for James, I believe, last week. So, of course, we would give you a full guidance on what documents are needed, essentially. I will email you the relevant links. But by all means, we're more than happy to speak to you over any, Google Meet or phone or emails and do it together with you. So we would allocate our time, and we'll make sure that we will go through the KYC process as smooth as possible. And that also applies to EMAC as well. The next question. We currently list on Amazon UK, and then it's automatically listed in Amazon France, Germany, Italy, and Spain. It seems to me that you are using the BIL Amazon automation tool.
I can cover that, Przemek, if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just on that question. So I understand that you are currently using the BIL tool, which is an Amazon tool that allows you to localize and list and translate and list your item internationally. So what Webinterpret do essentially on Amazon, beyond what BIL is doing, is that on top of just translating, we are optimizing programmatically your listing. So for example, we can rework your title, inject some keywords in it in order to make sure that your item will be more visible in a given country. A second really important thing we are doing that we see very often with our clients, we are enriching the attributes on the listing to make sure that your listing can be listed internationally, right? Because sometimes you are missing some attributes, which is okay for let's say Amazon UK, but you need to add the length of the product in order to list it in Spain. So we are doing that enrichment for you to maximize the number of listings internationally. And the last key element of our offering, we are no longer only a localization product. Beyond localizing your item, we are going to manage all your international campaign for the marketing. We are as well going to manage all your international returns, which is quite a big value add, especially on Amazon, which force you to do international returns. And last but not least, we are helping you with responding to your international buyers when it comes to their feedback, because on Amazon, if you don't respond to international feedback or to feedback in general, you could be penalized. So I would recommend not to see Webinterpret only from a localization angle, but from an international full stack solution that is going to help you being successful internationally.
Brilliant. Thank you, Adrien. I believe there's another question. Could you please clarify on sponsorship and branding for small individual businesses? I'm not sure if so obviously we'll be more than happy to speak to each of you and of course to see whether we can provide you with some additional services. And not sure if I'm understanding about the sponsorship a bit. But of course, those services are not only tailored for, let's just say, enterprise or big businesses. Obviously, you got to start somewhere, and we believe the brand credibility to build this brand credibility is essential and key factor in order to be successful. So, of course, we would be more than happy to speak to you, see what opportunities we could offer, and what sort of like a mutual path we could find together in order to grow your business. And of course, that would be around improving your presence and perhaps helping you building up the brand story if you haven't got one. Will there be any help for shipping the consignments to European countries? Adrien, would you take that?
So we do have a shipping product. We partner with a company for that, and we give you access to carriers such as UPS, Ascendia, and others. So yes, we can help you with international shipping. That being said, it is not something we necessarily push to our sellers or to our clients, simply because sometimes you might have your own setup, your own process, and you are not keen on changing that. So we are fine with that either way. But yes, we could help you.
Thank you, Adrien. Interestingly enough, someone said they used to work with us, but we stopped at Brexit. So of course, I will be more than happy to revisit. We are expanding as a business. We've been slightly more flexible now. And I'm sure we'll be able to find, to help you to discuss, first of all, to see if we can reactivate our partnership again. And of course, we would love to have that conversation. I believe we need to be a bit cautious on time. So I wanted to, I don't think there's quite a few more questions, but of course we don't want to be holding you here, guys. So what essentially will happen, we'll be emailing you the slides with the presentation after today's webinar, so you can go through it. You will also find our contact details, and we are very much eager to speak to you individually to see and to discuss the future growth opportunities. And again, I'd like to thank you all for today's attendance. It's been great. We're hoping to do this more often now. And again, we wish you all the success, and we're looking forward to speak to you in the nearest future. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.